Okay guys, so we've already shot a video for the Defender Max, but if you're fitting this to a single cab, okay, you need to pay attention to the brackets that we're fitting here, okay, and then the door pin that we're fitting at the front. Then that is all you need to do if you've got a single cab rather than a Max. Hey everyone, Brian here from Rival. Today we're going to fit our Rival Defender doors to the new 2023 model because there's been some modifications to the bike and we've come up with a really good way to be able to back fit the bikes. So stay tuned, we'll go ahead and we'll get it fitted. Okay, so first up what we're going to do is we're going to take this net off from the rear doors. Okay, to do that we're going to have to take these two plastic plugs here at the back here. We're going to pull that off. There's a screw here. Okay, we're going to take this cover off and then take all the fitting points for the net off, and then also the latch that actually holds the net closed. We're going to take that one off as well, but let's keep a hold of the genuine spaces that are in here. We're going to reuse them later when we mount our latch in. Okay, so this is what I was saying before. We're going to take these two screws out here, but we're going to keep the spaces that come from here. Okay, then once we've done that, we're just going to pop this back of this seat out. Okay, and then we're going to undo these two bolts down here, two 10 mils, and then there's one bolt up here which is a torque head, and then this whole shoulder bracket is going to come off. So this is the bracket that we've come up with to make the new 2023 models fit with our existing doors, okay, because previously Can-Am used to weld this nub here onto the actual frame, whereas now they've changed the design on some of the 2023 models, not all of them, and they're actually welding this part to the shoulder guard. So what we've done is we've come up with this fix. Okay, so if your bike actually has this nub already welded onto it, you don't need to worry about it. Okay, you can just discard this part, or it may not even ship with your order. But if you do need this part, what you have to do is there's a bolt here, which is the top bolt out of there. Okay, and you just have to drill through here. We take this pop rivet out, and we'll put a bolt and a nut through here, which will then allow this to mount on here like that, and then replicate the original welded nub that used to be there. So now that that's loose, we'll just get a punch and we'll punch that rivet out. You may have to use a bit bigger drill bit and take that head off. It just depends on how the rivet undrills for you. But basically you just need to get that out and turn that hole into a 6mm, 7mm hole so that you can get the bolt through. So we've got our bracket on here. So what we did is as I said before, we drilled this out to a bit over 6mm, 7mm hole. Okay, we've taken a 6x25mm bolt. We've taken a large 6x25mm washer and put it in from the back because there's a bit of plastic there, so we want to put a nice big washer on there. Okay, and we've got some smaller 6mm washers on here and nuts, and we've reused the OE bolt here. Okay, but we've added one of the 6x18mm washers. So the washer that'll be in the kit is a smaller one, but it just gives us a bit more coverage and a bit more strength when we bolt it on. Okay, so the next bracket we're going to fit is this bracket. Okay, so to get there we need to be able to get in at these bolts, because what this does is this part here slides over the top of here, and then that part there slides in there. So unfortunately though, to do that we're going to have to cut this plastic. Okay, so there's two ways to do this. The easiest way is just a heated up box cutter or a Sawzall if you've got one, and we're just going to cut this plastic here and then cut the plastic back. Okay, this allows us a lot of easier access. You can just trim it down here and slide it in too. It just makes it a bit harder on your hands. We've now undone, we've trimmed that plastic back there. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to undo these OE bolts out. We're going to take them out. So take one out at a time. Okay, so we're just pushing them out. You might have to use a ratchet or a drill just to bring them out. And then we're just going to push this new one in. Okay, but we're going to reuse the original nuts. But what we have to do first is we take two of these big thick spacer blocks on each bolt, and we're just going to slide them on. Okay, and then just sit the nut on here gently, and then what's going to happen is we're going to slide this bracket on, because see how this here is opened up, so we're going to slide that on so that the spacers are on this side facing outwards outwards away from the bike, and we're going to slide that on like that. Okay, and then we're going to take our 6x35 and put it through here, and then that then re-replicates the shoulder guard. Rightio, so now we've gone and we've got this put on, we can go ahead and reinstall that plastic cover here, and then we've got another bracket that we're going to put on here that comes around from there. Every now and then you may have to like loosen this off and adjust this in and out, but very rarely. Okay, there is a lot of adjustment in these doors just to allow for, you know, differences in the doors and then differences also in the bikes. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and slide that back on, make sure that bottom bit goes in, and then just put our plastic pins back in at the back. Okay, so this is E1 or E2. Okay, to know which side goes on, this part here with the little lip coming up, it is upwards. Okay, and we're going to take two of our M8x20s and with our 24mm washers, and we're going to install this here at the back. Rightio, we're just going to leave that there loose for the time being, and then we're going to go and get another bracket that has to fit on here. Okay, so this is our bracket B1 or B2, depending on which side you're doing. Okay, and this one is a little bit tricky. So this is a big spacer, and what we're doing is we're trying to pick up this bolt hole down here. So there's a threaded nut, okay, that's a genuine part of the bike. So we've got a big 6x70mm bolt, okay, with a washer. We're going to put that spacer over like that, and we just have to try and not drop that spacer off as we go in. And then just start that off thread, and then what we do is then go back and we've got two 8mm holes here that are on or welded nuts, and then two 8mm here that have got, you'll need washers and a nut from behind. Okay, so we've put the door pin on here. So now the next step is to actually swing our door. So what we're going to do is we've got these triangular nuts that have got welded nuts in the back, and we've got our bracket. So what the idea with this is our nut is going to go in underneath here like this, and our bracket's going to go on top, and then we've got our 20mm bolts, and we've got a 6mm washer, and then we've also got some spring washers on here too to make sure that they stay tight on the trail. We're just going to install these. Okay, now what the beautiful part of this is it gives us a lot of adjustment, both up and down and in and around. Okay, so when we actually go to lining the door up, okay, and getting it to close nicely, that will play a pivotal role in all of your adjustment. Next thing what we're going to do is we're going to put our door pin on. Okay, so our door pin is we're going to have to take these two bolts here out. This bolt's got a bumper mounted to it, but we'll have another bracket that goes in here and bolts through that actually holds the door pin. Some bikes you're able to get these bolts back in, but because the dash is plastic, sometimes if the bike's been out in the field for a little while, the dash may have moved and settled in, and sometimes you may not be able to get those bolts back in. Realistically, they're just for decoration, so you don't have to, but if you can get those bolts back in, awesome. Just drill them back in so that they're there. We do have holes for it in our bracket, but it's 100% not necessary. Okay, so the last step before we actually swing the door itself is this bracket here. So this bracket holds our door pin. Okay, and as you can see here, we've got adjustment in and out here, so that if you want to bring your door in and out, you can. And then we've also got adjustment up and down here on our door pin. As you can see from the back here, it's a slotted hole. Okay, and also with the pin, because it's got the two nuts, you can adjust the pin in and out also. Okay, so this bracket here basically goes straight into here. You've got another cover plate, goes over there like that. Okay, and then we've got some 6mm bolts with some washers, and all we do is find the hole in behind here. As I've said previously, these holes here are not necessary. Okay, because they're a plastic dash, the dash can move, as I said before, and you know, if the vehicle's been used a bit, it can be moved. The dash could have moved, so they're only there for if you can get the screws back in. If you can't, it's not needed. We've got, you know, very thick brackets here that are going to hold everything in place. As we explained on the rear doors, we've put our brackets already on these front doors here. So now all we got to do is go in and we got to swing it and adjust it. As I said, like, these are done up firm but not super tight, so we can adjust it and get the door on. So we're just going to now set the door here on our bracket. Okay, it's almost perfect. I'm just going to need to adjust this pin here a little bit. Perfect. So now that I know that it's almost perfect, I'll go back and tighten everything back up again. Okay, make sure everything's nice and tight, and then if any adjustment once I've done that is needed, go ahead and adjust it. As we explained in the other video, most of your adjustment is going to come from here. So loosen these off. It'll give you lots of upwards, down, forward, back adjustment. and then you can start to play with this if need be. But besides that, they should adjust up and you'll have many years of happy trails.